It's a great question, and I'm going to give you a strange answer. The Last Samurai. And I'm going to tell you why. I've watched the movie several times, and it's about this rube who manages to survive in the Civil War, and he gets transplanted to Japan, to this strange culture. And he ends up living in the home of a man that he kills. And the woman who was the wife, the widow of this man, becomes his caretaker. And he becomes transformed by this culture and he becomes a better person. And it opens his mind. And I just think, to me, if that was a movie that I think is a favorite movie because it it's the journey of transformation between cultures. It has a terribly sad ending. It's not all, sunshine and lollipops. There's crude and uneducated. There's educated and wonderful. I just think it's a great film, and it's probably not on anybody's 10 best list, but for me, it's a movie that came to mind when you asked that question. I love movies and going to movie theaters, and my wife does not like them as much. I have a son who lives in Boston who goes to the movies all. He's an emergency room doctor, so when he's not at the hospital, he goes to the movies. He likes to go to movies and see movies. So when he came to visit me here in Miami during the it was sort of the end of the pandemic, and we went to see Oppenheimer together and such a powerful movie, and with so many, powerful questions in it. And we were walking afterwards, and my wife and my son and I, we were talking about, you know, how would you live if you realized you only had 12 months to live? What would you do differently? And that movie really was weighing on my thoughts in some way, and I can't really explain why, but it became kind of, I said, do I have to look at everything I'm doing and decide whether this is what I would want to be doing? And I know making art is absolutely going to be on that list, It's like I'm just I'm I don't know, like it I think a lot of artists are like defective people. If we can't make art, we're not real, there's something missing. And, when I'm in a room with real artists, I really feel like I'm with my tribe. And they could be all different shapes and sizes and colors and everything else, but they are the tribe that we're all from. Um, and it's so different from the place I grew up. It's not, I was listening to Michael Lewis being interviewed by Walter Isaacson, and they both are from Louisiana, and they were talking about the impact that Louisiana had on them, New Orleans had on them becoming writers. And uh, I I thought about that in relation to my own growing up in a small town, and I I don't want to live in a small town. It's like that. I don't want to go back to that place. They talked about lovingly about going back to New Orleans and being in this little community that it is. And uh, I've had this wonderful journey of all these places with all of these people that I've only met for a few minutes that stay with me for, everywhere I go. And um, I'm I've been very blessed and given the opportunity to have an experience that uh, all art driven. I don't go anywhere if it's not for art. I don't do anything if it's not for art. Vacation, it just doesn't exist in my mind. What does exist is uh, in making my senses more aware of the world around me. I'm not nearly as perceptive. I'm not nearly as aware of the world around me as I need to be. I'm not nearly as astute as I'd like to be. And at the same time, I long for that. So I don't know if that makes any sense.